known for its mountains, but the Appalachians are beautiful too, and the Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, and all that. I haven't been out there in a while, but my brother rides motorcycles out there often, and beautiful terrain. Good to see everybody. Thank you again, Janice, for participating with me. John Lavetia here with you on Wednesday, the 22nd of December, for an impromptu and lightly attended daily success call. So I'm glad to be here with you all. I'm in what's left of my office. You guys typically don't see me in this condition, and yet here it is. There's what's left of my desk, pretty much nothing. I'm surrounded with boxes. I do have my Harley cup, though, which I always have. But good to see you. Glad you're here. We're going to have a lighthearted conversation today. Let me pull up my controls. Where's my stuff? I was just talking with Janice just before we went live, because it was like a Morgan here. Nobody was talking. Usually, well, you know what? Is Missy here? Let's see. Usually if Missy's in here, there's a conversation going on. Missy's actually not here today. Okay, well, so now we know, right? But we were talking a little bit about overwhelm in the holidays. We were thinking that a lot of people are probably handling things last minute before, Christmas is coming. And I'm doubly overwhelmed because, as I think many of you know, I'm about to move. So packing and getting all that done can definitely, create some overwhelm, not unlike when you start a new business, right? Which is, I guess, we're going to talk about here today. And in fact, I was thinking when I was, I remember doing some work with a marketing group, and they were looking to get a product on the road. Now, this product had been on the road for a while. It wasn't a new kind of a thing, but they were looking to take a new approach to it. By the way, are coffee cups new, and T-shirts and pillowcases and ornaments? No. So you're not doing anything new here, okay? But you're having a different or a nuanced approach to it, right? That makes sense. But what we were looking at, and what I think you can relate to here, is we were looking at creating a degree of excitement about something that had already been in the market for quite a while. A degree of excitement, okay? So we have, here in this group, we have things that could be considered commodities, right? So here's coffee cups and T-shirts and stuff like that. Now, isn't one just like any other? Well, if that's how they're perceived, if they're perceived only as commodities, well, then the price is the price. When I say commodity, I mean in the literal sense, right? So what is an ounce of gold worth? That is a commodity. What is a barrel of oil worth? And it changes from moment to moment, and the market, fluctuates. But it's not like, unless you're dealing in terms of precious metals, unless you're dealing in like numismatics, right? Like this is the precious coin that was dug up from the ancient, whatever. No, if we're just talking about weight, by weight, here is what it's worth, period, right? There's nothing special or not special about it. That's it. So there's a degree of, I would call it underwhelm. There's a degree of underwhelm when we deal with commodities, as opposed to what I'm dealing with right now, a bit of overwhelm. Hey, Alec, I see your hand up. Glad you're here. We'll get to questions and Q&A here and commentary in a minute. But, as I'm relating, so we've all had times where we're overwhelmed with starting a business or whatever. And there are times when we're underwhelmed with the product or the sales pitch or whatever we're seeing, hopefully not coming out of our own camp. So what we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is the correct amount of whelm. The correct amount of whelm, okay? So that will be our topic for today. Creating or inducing or inventing the correct amount of whelm. And that's what we were looking to do with this product, that we were looking to vitalize and create fresh, PR and marketing and all this. And we did it. In other words, we put some sizzle on the steak. You guys get the metaphor, right? There's steak and there's sizzle in the sales world, right? Sometimes it's all sizzle, no steak, right? I'm sure some of you have seen that. Here's this spectacular, the promises of riches and magical success. All right. Where's the beef, right? You guys remember that commercial? Was that Wendy's? Where's the beef? Right? Yeah. All sizzle, no steak, right? So when we look to create the correct amount of whelm for our customers, right here in low-hanging system and everything that you're doing with e-commerce, there are some devices, there are some things you can use to do that. By the way, there's a difference between a device and a gimmick. Okay, so back to the idea of instant riches and some of the sales pitches I get to see on the internet, with the rented Lamborghini and the bikini chicks on the yachts and all that. That's gimmicks. Okay, that's a gimmick. And why do people use gimmicks? Because they tend to work with lower IQ people, right? People who are dazzled and seduced by the imagery and all this. And don't get me wrong, I love a good sales pitch. I once went to a timeshare presentation because I heard that these guys can sell. I just wanted to hear the pitch, and it was so good that I bought it. But anyway, I probably shouldn't have. But I love a good sales pitch as long as there's beef. Okay, so you've got the beef, right? You've got the commodity. You've got the steak, so to speak. Okay, we got to put some sizzle on it. So what devices, not gimmicks, okay, because gimmicks are unfulfilled promises, but what devices can you use to deliver this idea of, hey, I got to have that, to raise the amount of whelm, right? Enthusiasm, basically. I've got to have that versus, it's just another coffee cup or another t-shirt or whatever. Now, obviously, when you're doing your creative work, well, that speaks volumes right there, hopefully to the right target audience, right? Because the guy who likes, black cups with skulls and flames doesn't like the unicorn, the rainbow thing or whatever, right? A different target audience. And you can't be all things to all people. In fact, if you're vanilla, you're ignored. So don't be vanilla, right? You're back to a commodity. So how can we uncommoditize this and make it known to such a degree that people are, I can't live without that thing now. I didn't even know you existed, you and your coffee cups 10 seconds ago, but now, well, here's my money, right? So what devices can we use to do that? I think a lot of times people get hung up on the creative aspect of this in terms of, creating designs on products, which is good and necessary and valid. That's great. But getting it sold. In fact, I recently had someone in one of our welcome sessions with some of our new members, which you've all been through. But I had someone talk about how they were in other online business courses and such, where they had paid a lot of money and they got some guidance on, basic things like, how to source products or whatever methods they were using, but they never got how to get it sold. They never got the marketing part. Here are the people who are searching for what I intend to sell. And yet, how do we match that message to the market? How do we put that message in front of the right target audience? And so some of the things that you should have your attention on is not only, the subjective and the non-commoditized, right? The correct amount of whelm, not only the message, but how you're getting it out there into the marketplace. Now, there's a number of ways to do that. And so I would call these devices, okay? And some of them are logistical and some of them are just messaging, okay, or imagery. Think of, for example, anybody know Geico Insurance? You've heard of Geico, right? A little, no? Okay. Well, there's a little lizard that runs around, a gecko, right? A gecko is a type of lizard. And that's a device that is used to make the message sticky and attractive in the mind of the person. Here's this very harmless looking made up, creature, this gecko guy. Now you remember the name of the company, right? Geico, right? Which Geico was an acronym for, oh my goodness, General something insurance. The word insurance is in there somewhere, but they wanted to get that sold. Insurance seems like a commodity. I'm insured, you're insured. Who cares what company it is? Well, no, we're going to use a device, and we're going to induce people to want to switch into this service, this intangible thing, which nobody really wants, but everybody has to buy, right? So let's make that attractive. Okay, so think of that as a device. All right, what can you do in terms of your messaging to make your stuff stand out? I'm going to use Missy as an example. I don't know if Missy's here. Did she get here yet? Maybe, maybe not. but she has, if you go to her Etsy store, there's just one example, okay, but it's Solace Design Studio. Solace, or Solace, I guess I should say. Solace Design Studio. And when you look at the imagery of that, right, I guess if you're interested in things like solace, right, comfort and the friendly, things, that imagery that comes up for you. And there's logos and designs and all this, but that is something that would attract people to browse the store. Okay, even if they just found it on, let's say they were just maybe on a keyword search, like on a search engine, right, which brought them to one particular product. Now, because the store is inviting and there's those devices being used, including the branding, people will be more or less inclined to do business with that store. They don't know who the hell is Missy, right? They don't know anything yet, but then there's a picture. Now they do know, oh, this is like a family-run thing. Oh, you get to, participate and be a part of the Solace, movement or whatever. And so I would say that is good and right and valid for the right target audience. So that would be more of a creative thing that creates messaging for the right target audience. Back to logistics, back to the other thing is, how did they find it in the first place? And this is where I think a lot of people don't have, nobody was born with this. Nobody was born with an aptitude for marketing. And I covered this with those of you who are going through the accelerator program. Keep on trucking through that, because when we get to our business launch strategy session, I'm going to talk with you more about marketing, which must happen, right? If you're just creating products and not marketing them, well, hobby, nice. You get to have a collection of designs or something that you can look at, but I don't want you looking at them, right? In fact, my opinion, think about this: when I create a product, or I'm doing marketing, I'm putting something out there, my opinion is the one that I'm least interested in. I'm only interested in the opinion of the guy with the credit card in his hand who could give me money. That's the guy whose opinion I'm interested in. Okay, so when we think about marketing, what we're talking about now is reaching into the public and impinging on their space and putting their attention on that which you offer. And of course, the purpose of all this is to increase the demand for what you supply. Supply, demand. So you've got supply, which is why you do marketing, right? You don't do marketing because you lack or you're trying to get. Yeah, you're going to make money. That's fine. Okay, but because you have, and in the spirit of having this, not of lack and limitation and like you're a rat looking for cheese, but in the spirit of I have solace in my design studio, right? And I want to give that to you, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. So step right up and please enjoy please browse and buy everything. Okay, but the messaging has to be delivered in such a way that it impinges on the correct public. And again, it's not all of them, right? You can't be all things to all people. You'll overwhelm yourself doing that. Back to the idea of the correct amount of whelm, right? You got to decide who you are and then go deep into that area or areas, right? So I sell to, fishermen and people who like unicorns and the gardening crowd. I don't know anything about the bikers or whatever. I don't know, right? Other people can be that. I'm not that, right? Obviously, I'm making this up as I go. I don't know anything about gardening. Okay. In fact, some people have a green thumb. I've accused myself of having a black thumb. I don't think there's any plant I can't kill. I've got this beautiful one right here. You guys have seen it many times in the corner. There you go. That's a Dracaena. Doesn't that look great? Yeah, it's about 20 years old. It's fake. And it's doing awesome. I had a maid water it once, though. I was like, this is a fake plant. Really, it looks good. Yeah, it looks good. Paid some money for that. Anyway, you want to be able to impinge on the right target audience. Where are these people? That's a question you'll probably want to ask yourself. Where are these people? Well, you know what? It's a good, easy thing to do, I think, with social media, which has its uses. I know I'm not a big fan of social media, but it has its uses. When you can find what people are looking for, people who have those same sort of values, interests, whatever, right? There are groups of every type, right? I don't think I need to tell you this, but there are groups of every type on social media. Facebook, for example, that's the biggest. YouTube, for that matter. But Facebook has the ability to show you what else are these people interested in. Oh, look, all these people, or let's say 65% of them who happen to like this also like that. Oh, let's go look at that group. And now you can find, here are the not only demographics, not only, male, female, age range, college grad, whatever, right? Which don't think that stuff is gospel, by the way. That's pretty loose. Okay. But not only are we looking at demographics, I think more importantly, we're looking at psychographics. What are they interested in? What do they like? What language do they speak? Because here's the thing, my friends, and you can recognize this in your own life. When someone is speaking your language, when someone connects a message to the right target audience, in other words, here you are, you're the audience, you're the recipient of the sales pitch, and you're like, that is exactly what I want. You're a buyer. You're a buyer. Great. We all buy stuff, right? We love to buy. People hate to be sold, but they love to buy, right? When they can recognize for themselves, that would be great for me to experience that product, service, opportunity, whatever it happens to be. So can you match through whatever devices, methods, or media, can you match your message of your unique and subjective and non-commodity type product to the ideal target audience who just cannot wait to give you money? In fact, that should be your expectation, because here's the thing. If you've got sort of a doubt about this, if you've got considerations that because perhaps you haven't, money hasn't rained down upon you with the last thing you tried, that maybe you shouldn't get your expectations up too high, guess what? You know what? The past does not equal the future, and you pretty much get what you expect. And look, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet, right? What conversion would you have to have? By the way, they all drink liquids, okay? So we're just talking about coffee cups. They wear clothes, by the way, too, all right? But most of them do. But what conversion would you have to have in order to make, let's say, $100,000? So let's pick a small number, 100K. Okay, let's say you made $10 per sale. Just speaking arbitrarily now, let's use even numbers. So $10 per sale of this item, coffee cup, t-shirt, whatever it is. Okay. Well, let's see here. So if we add 1 0, that's 100, right? So that'd be 10 sales. And if we add 2 zeros, that would be 1,000, right? So that would be 100 sales to make 1,000. Right? So we're just adding zeros now. Well, still, we're not talking about 100 sales out of 7.5 billion people. That's $1,000. Okay. We can broaden this out, right? Just to kind of give yourself the proper expectation of how vast the marketplace is. And we're dealing with billions of people who drink liquids and wear clothing, just as a couple of product examples. All right. What percentage of them would you have to convert into customers for you to make, let's say, $100,000 arbitrarily? Tiny, like 0.0000, something tiny little percentage. You can do the math if you need to kind of create the case for yourself that you're on the right path. Look, I don't have to be right 100% of the time. In fact, in this world where you guys are playing, if you're right in terms of your products, you're offering, your marketing, if you're right, like 10, 15, 20% of the time, you're like a superhero, right? Do you think Rachel has a crystal ball? She doesn't, but I'll tell you what she does have: expectation that her stuff is going to work. Not all of it. Some of it doesn't stick. It comes and goes, but some of it, right? So hence, right, the proliferation of here's more products, here's more messaging. By whatever methods, whatever devices we're going to use, we're going to get that message out because I'm expecting it to come back, not hoping, expecting. Now, she has evidence to back that up. And as you're new here, you don't have personal evidence, but I would tell you to lean on those examples, those people who have come before you. Sorry, guys, if you're hearing these dogs going crazy. We apparently have people here. But lean on those examples to kind of build the case for yourself that, you know what, I'm on the right path here. I mean, look at all these other people. Does Rachel ride unicorns or something? Does Adam wear a cape and mask or something? I was talking with Amy, and then I'll shut up after this. I was talking with Amy, who's one of our e-commerce coaches. This was, we were in Vegas. And she did 600,000 last year. So she's been at it for a few years. Good, nice. Did she break any records? No, but 600K just in conversation, right? Nobody batted an eye at that. We're just having a conversation, right? 600K, good. The beats work at a job. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, but no big deal. And when you look at it with the correct amount of whelm, that's, I guess, our title for today. When you look at it with, I'm not surprised that you just made, or you could say this to yourself, you're not surprised that you just made this 100K or whatever. Of course you did. Of course you did. What the hell else would you be doing here? Of course you did. Do you need me?
If the guy wants to buy the propane tank too for the thing, is it like $35?
$30 for the tank. Yeah.
$30 for the tank.
And yeah, well, charging 40, it's full of gas too.
Okay, good.
All right. Okay, sorry about that. We've got people here to buy my used barbecue. I'd rather not move it. We'll just get one when we get there. We'll get a nicer one. Okay. He wanted the propane tank too. And I was like, propane tank. I'm a prepper, right? I'm not giving him my propane tank. He can buy it. I'll go buy another one when I get there. Anyway, I'm done talking. Sorry for the interruption, my friends. Alec, you've had your hand up this entire time. I'm going to close the door so I can hear what Alec has to say. And Alec, come on out. And then I see Ron's got a hot mic.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I did not speak sooner. I did not realize I had my mic off. But the entire time you were speaking about selling a commodity, which many people should be very intrigued with. And we had spoke one time about me not selling a product, because what I'm doing is I'm not selling a product. What I'm selling is a memory. And a lot of people tend to misidentify that. They see that as, oh, well, you're selling your memory. And it's like, so tell me how that did not remind you of something that you remembered from the past. Tell me how that was not me selling, not my memory. Tell me how that was not selling your memory. Because apparently, as far as I'm concerned, you didn't buy my product because you needed a coffee mug. You didn't buy my product because you needed another coffee mug, because everybody knows that everybody has a cabinet full of coffee mugs.
My wife and daughter certainly do. Oh my goodness.
Okay, but why did you choose to buy my product? Was it because you needed another coffee mug? Or was it because that coffee mug reminded you of something? Brought back a memory? Not my memory, of course. I mean, I do base a lot of stuff on my memory.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not selling my memories. What I'm selling is the little things that people take for granted. Hey, you know what? You love your dog. You know what? Guess what? I made a coffee mug for that. If you love your dog, you know what? I got a coffee mug for that. Or better yet, I made a mug that was really just based off of a leaf. And it was a memory. It was my memory, of course. And it was a memory of that movie Forrest Gump. And yes, of course, that was my memory. And now I know, of course, a lot of people might not have ever seen that movie. But at the same time, have not a lot of people seen that movie? So you see, like, a lot of people haven't seen that movie, but a lot of people might have seen that movie. And do I focus all my attention on that one cup, on that one memory? No, because you know what? Guess what? On top of that design, I also have another 100 and something designs. And one of them is bound to relate to you because some of them are the most simple things. And now I'm talking about that one movie, Forrest Gump, how I made the movie, because that was my memory on Forrest Gump. And it was a movie about a leaf. Or it was a mug about a leaf. So am I supposed to automatically assume that everybody is gonna go ahead and know exactly what I am talking about when it comes to me talking about that leaf? Probably not. But you know what? The simplest things, that leaf might actually mean a lot to somebody. And I don't like to think of myself as selling a product that people need. I like to think of myself as somebody who sells a product that people want, because people don't need coffee cups. We all already know that people don't need coffee cups. But when you look at that coffee cup, how does it make you feel? So, did I really just sell you something that you needed? Or did I just sell you something that you wanted?
Right, you got it. So thank you. Thank you, Alec. I think you've made a good point, and it's all about what people want, right? So when we do marketing, it's about augmenting or creating a demand for supply that already exists. And so whatever it triggers in the mind of the person who is the right target audience, that could be the memory of the thing, but it's significance, it's relevance, right? That's the thing we're looking for, and that's where we match the message to the marketplace. Thank you again, Alec. Really glad you're here. Sorry we weren't able to see you on camera today, but glad you're here nonetheless. Let's go to Scott and then Ron. Hey, Scott, you've got the floor, sir.
Yes, thank you. Interesting. I was just thinking, now this is a bit of an analogy. Do you know when, I know a smattering of some words in Chinese and Cambodian because I've dealt with a lot of people like that. But I notice when I go to somewhere, or I'm in the context where I might drop a word of Mandarin or something, just to say hello, goodbye, whatever, or in Cambodian, instantly the response is, whoa, how do you know that? And they think I'm this multilingual genius, and that could be the end of my entire vocabulary. But that really connects and resonates because they don't expect me to be speaking a word of Mandarin or Cambodian. And I think that's in part like what we're doing. We are speaking the language of the mindset of the person in such a way that it grabs their attention, and they look and they say, oh my goodness, I can resonate, I connect with this. And in the sense that I'm not a Chinese person, I'm not a Cambodian person, that fact alone makes it surprising to them. And I think in the analogy here is that you would see a mug or see a message, and it has a funny twist, or it has something that's powerful, and it grabs your attention that way. And that's what we're doing. We're sort of resonating with something that really drives them, something that's really important to them. And that's how we connect. So when we have that little memory and we put it on a cup, and when they see it, they're reliving that. And that's like a part of themselves sort of exploding in their own face every day. And it's sort of a celebration of what they are, who they are as a person. If we can connect closely enough to what's really driving them. I think that's just sort of my take on that.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, we definitely want to connect. I think that's what we're talking about. Otherwise, yeah, people are just underwhelmed with the message. So hopefully this message today is connecting with all you guys as well. So thank you for your perspective on that, Scott. Let's go to Ron, and then I think we'll be wrapping up here for today. Hey, Ron, what's going on?
Well, I like words.
All right.
I enjoyed your word psychographics.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now, if we understand our own psychographics, we can put that aside. Other people's psychographics are going to be different because we're all unique. So in thinking about connection, one of the things that's very powerful in terms of breaking the social strata of I do better than you, or I think better than you, or whatever, is doing things together. And family is a very high psychographic or possibility of connection. Similar memories, or they say people who suffer together join together.
Mhm.
And then there's also people who want hope as they'll hear something and it steers them because that's something I wanted and they got it. So that gives them hope or encouragement. Some people want healing. Some people want mental health, and then there's a large group of people who want escape. They like to avoid things as a habit in life. But we could look at alcohol as a way of escape, but actually a lot of escape is just a numbing yourself to the pain in life. So people, if something relates, and I mentioned suffering together, then there's a joining together or a respect for one another. And everybody learns differently. Some people are kinetic, they've got to do something. And it's said with men, not necessarily with men, but especially with men, those who work together, join together. So these are part of the psychographic, I think, that you're talking to. It's a new word for me. I haven't thought about it. But I just wanted to share that sometimes we have to put aside the way we look at things to look at things differently. And it is a philosopher who can observe life from neutral, because an observer is never a victim. And it's kind of like getting arguments out of being patronized or looked down on or spoken down to. The only way out of those is to be the adult who can keep observing and looking for a way that is maybe a little different than the way that other people have thought. And that is hopeful, because we know we have to change, the world has to change. And if we keep doing the same thing, we keep getting the same results. Nothing changes unless you actually do something different. So I just thought I'd throw that in the mix under the topic of psychographics and what people are looking for, what people get attached to.
Right. Thank you, Ron. I first heard that word from Dan Kennedy. I'm not sure if you know who that is, but Dan is probably one of the highest paid copywriters alive today. And he was talking about copywriting as it relates to a sales letter or a commercial or whatever. And I don't know if he coined the term, but man, did it stick with me, right? Because I hear demographics all the time. I'm like, demographics, yeah, it's valid, but you know what? I don't know. And then he said psychographics. It's like, there it is. So anyway, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Alec. I'm going to get back to packing and dealing with people coming to buy used barbecue grills. But let's have a great week, what's left of it. We've got one more broadcast, one more daily success call for tomorrow. Okay, Karen will be here with you. We're going to take Christmas Eve off. All right. And then next week, holiday week, right, we will have Karen on the whole time, because I'm going to be driving and unloading trucks and all that. So anyway, love you guys. Thank you again for